Scientology science. The illusion of science in Scientology. Scientology presents itself as an exact science designed to unlock human potential and improve lives. L. Ron Hubbard claimed Scientology was a revolutionary branch of psychology, and a superior system to traditional sciences, positioning it as the ultimate solution to human challenges. However, unlike real science, which thrives on testing, falsifiability, and peer review, Scientology isolates itself from external scrutiny. Its claims are self-referential, relying entirely on Hubbard's teachings, devoid of evidence from broader scientific inquiry. While science welcomes conflicting data as a means to refine the truth, Scientology dismisses criticism and challenges as attacks. This insular approach creates an echo chamber that reinforces the organization's authority while stifling dissent. As the movie Going Clear, Scientology and the Prison of Belief succinctly puts it, to understand Scientology, you have to understand the life and mind of its inventor, L. Ron Hubbard. His vision wasn't grounded in collaboration or external validation, but in establishing an uncontested belief system. A closed loop of belief. Experts and former members have described Scientology not as a science, but as a closed system designed to suppress inquiry and enforce conformity. The organization operates as a self-contained bubble where its teachings cannot be questioned without facing backlash. Followers are promised self-determination, but, as many ex-members and critics have highlighted, the reality is a system designed to erode critical thinking and enforce conformity. Critics and experts have also emphasized Hubbard's methods, rooted in hypnosis and suggestive techniques, as a means of implanting ideas rather than freeing minds. These manipulative practices create the illusion of personal breakthroughs while systematically dismantling independent thought. As Paul Haggis observed in the movie Going Clear, Scientology and the Prison of Belief. We willingly avoid things that could cause us pain if we looked. If we can just believe something, then we don't have to really think for ourselves, do we? The rejection of traditional psychology and psychiatry further isolates followers. Scientology offers its own personality tests and mental health practices, often criticized as pseudo-scientific and manipulative. Its core promise, to achieve total freedom, is revealed as conditional. Freedom only comes through complete submission to Hubbard's untested theories. A deliberate contradiction. At its core, Scientology thrives on a contradiction. It promises freedom while delivering psychological imprisonment. John Atta captured this paradox, stating that Scientology uses Hubbard's techniques to implant minds rather than liberate them. You'll be totally free, Hubbard suggests, as long as you're enslaved by me. This contradiction traps followers in an echo chamber where obedience is mistaken for enlightenment. Chris Shelton, who was in Scientology for 27 years, and worked in the Sea Org for 17 of those years, described it as both fascinating and horrifying, pointing to a long trail of harm masked by testimonials of supposed success. As he put it, Scientology promises freedom while delivering slavery, a system morally and intellectually bankrupt. The organization's practices, wrapped in Hubbard's charismatic rhetoric, strip individuals of their ability to question, leaving them trapped in a world where doubt is punished, and dissent is silenced. This rigidity is institutionalized in the Keeping Scientology Working (KSW) policy, which ensures that Hubbard's teachings remain unaltered and sacrosanct. KSW mandates that the technology and methods created by Hubbard are perfect, and cannot be revised or evolved. This contrasts starkly with general science, which thrives on progress, adaptation, and the integration of new discoveries. As Chris put it, if you look at the actual discoveries of science, I think you'll find the exact opposite of dead ends and stagnation. Scientology, on the other hand, has not moved forward or discovered anything new in decades. In fact, Hubbard himself demanded that Scientology be placed in a static, unchanging condition by his own hand in 1965, when he wrote a policy called Keeping Scientology Working, stating that he had perfected the only workable system on the planet, capable of freeing every man, woman, and child. The experts speak. Science or pseudoscience? Critics and former insiders consistently highlight Scientology's lack of scientific credibility. Chris Shelton, who once trained others in Hubbard's methods, remarked that Hubbard's claims of rigorous research and scientific discovery were baseless. None of Hubbard's case studies, research notes, or clinical trials have ever been published, and it's doubtful they even exist, he said, emphasizing the stark absence of empirical evidence. John Atok, another prominent critic, described Scientology as the opposite of what it promises to be, a system that manipulates and enslaves rather than liberates. Atok exposed the contradictions in Hubbard's teachings, such as the promise of self-determination that requires total adherence to doctrines riddled with inconsistencies. Tony Ortega summarized the distinction succinctly. Real science relies on observation, experiment, and falsifiability, principles that Scientology systematically avoids. Instead, Scientology redefines science to fit its narrative, offering a faith-based ideology dressed as an exact science. By rejecting external validation and isolating itself from the broader scientific community, Scientology reveals itself not as a path to enlightenment, but as a pseudo-scientific enterprise that thrives on control, power, and the suppression of inquiry. Scientology's science, a closed system in an open world. LRH's science is shown on left, static, as mandated by KSW. Legitimate science examples, on right, whether physical, psychological, or otherwise, evolve through peer review, experimentation, and rigorous testing conducted by independent researchers and organizations, ensuring accountability, transparency, and reproducibility beyond any single individual's or group's control. Since all possible sciences operate within all of reality, any science claiming to be universally foundational should logically be open to verification and comparison. It should withstand scrutiny and rigorous testing against other scientific models to validate its relevance and accuracy.